Topic number two, Riley, test the temperature of that meat, Davis.
So we're going to go back to April 6th, I believe, which would have been the day after the national championship. I want you to think back to everything you thought you knew about college basketball on that day. And then fast forward back to July 31st, the day that we're recording this. And I want to talk some stock risers. Mainly, what teams, I want two teams and two players who have risen in your mind compared to how you viewed them either at the end of last season, or we can even say like throughout the month of April at the very earliest stages of the off season.
Ooh, okay, so two players and two programs that have stock up for me.
Yep.
Oh, that's tough 'cause I have gone stock up on. Okay, actually, I'll do this. My first stock up, you want to just go like one by one back and forth?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, I'm gonna start with a stock up team. It's actually St. John's. I feel like I have been too harsh on St. John's. I'm always over here like I got this little thing against Patino, somewhat, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't view him as God as other people do. But there is a world where this roster's really good, right? There's a world where they're really good. There's a world where like everything hits and they got hella talent on this team. Ian Jackson, Zuby Ejiofor, Joseph Sanoan. They have Darling as well, who I really, really like as a backup point guard, maybe the starting point guard on this team, who really knows. But they got a really good team, and I feel like I think too negatively on them because their ceiling is extremely high. I always want to go to their low floor. You know what I'm saying?
hmm Yeah, I like that shot a lot. I would say kind of truly the opposite archetype for my first team of St. John's. I said Wisconsin. Like Greg Gard is sort of the anti-Patino. The moves they make in the offseason are not flashy at all. But I had this realization the other day that I think Nick Boyd, John Blackman, and Nolan Winter, excuse me, John Blackwell and Nolan Winter is an awesome trio. And they might just quietly win like 25 games again. And it's like, oh, Wisconsin, silly face. Like Greg Gard all of a sudden knows how to coach offense and they're going to play fast. They're going to share their ball. They're going to knock down a bunch of threes. I'm really curious to see what Austin Rapp looks like, who's a sophomore from, I believe he's Australian coming over from Portland. The dude knocked down 83 threes last year. He took 236, 35% clips, and not the most efficient, but making 83 threes as a true freshman at 6'10, like that means something to me. And I would even say, looking at what they had last year, I thought the shooting of Nolan Winter really took them to the next level. I love that front court pairing with him and Crowell. And now if you have, if it can work out defensively with Winter and Rapp, there's a real world where Wisconsin is a top three feels aggressive, but I'll go ahead and say it, a top three team in the Big Ten.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like I'm really not mad at that. I do think that Wisconsin, Greg Gard just silly little offense. He always just makes it happen. He always is productive and he's always there. He's never goes away. So I like that. I feel like they haven't got enough shine. Um, so like as part of this exercise, is it some team that people aren't as high on? Or like me personally, like as the summer is going on, I'm like, oh, I like that team. I love it.
I would say, like you personally, if there's any team that you've changed your opinion on or you're coming around to.
Ooh, let's see. Change my. I mean, I don't want to say Creighton because I feel like I've been really high on Creighton. They just added some pieces that I really, really like. Um,
I can give you my second team if you need some time to think.
I actually think I know my second team.
Let me hear
And I'm
it.
not just saying this because it's you. It actually is UNC.
Oh,
It
okay.
actually is UNC. Like I think that Caleb Wilson could be a first round draft pick. I like Vasar. I like Stevenson. I'm a big Seth Trimble guy. As you know, your current European import I think can really go. So I don't know. I like what Hubert's doing. I like the roster more than I have in previous years. So I'll come around on UNC being good.
Yeah, I've said it really since they added Luca as that final piece. And there was a report from Inside Carolina this week that he's like having his interview with the American consul in the Montenegrin embassy. And so that it seems like his migration to the States is imminent. Thank the Lord. We need him in Chapel Hill. But there's a real framework where it's easy to envision good role allocation where everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing and they play into that and they succeed like very much. And it's not the same format as the 2024 team, but I thought as Hubert's by far his most successful team for the whole season and the role allocation was great and it yielded good results. My second team, I made this before I knew Greg wasn't going to be on the show, so it's not even playing into the Twinsky bit, but it's Texas. And this is one of those teams like I'm not moved by Jordan Pope as your lead guard. I need to see something out of Simeon Wilcher before I buy into his one-time five-star pedigree. Like he's been really inefficient in both of his seasons. I know he can guard a little bit, but I mean maybe inefficiency as guards is just par for the course with Rick Pitino these days.
Yeah.
But I love their front court. I think even some of the concerns I have, like going back to Pope and even Tremont Mark, who was there last year, like those guys like to shoot. But since Sean Miller came back to the college ranks, Xavier was top 10 in assist rate nationally every year he was there. I think he's gotten good at coaching ball movement and instilling offensive principles, which is crazy. Just going back to that was always his critique at Arizona was they had a ton of 7-footers they could guard, but the offense would always bog them down in key moments. And it seems like he's figured something out there. So I would say overall, when Texas hired him, I'm like, okay, yeah, Sean Miller's fine, but I'm not really excited about Sean Miller in 2025. But when I think about how he could maybe even help Tremont Mark and Jordan Pope, and then when you look at that front court of Dalen Swain, who I think has some skill at 6'8" and can play a little bit with the ball in his hands. I love the kid they got from FAU, Matas Vokiatitis. He was great last year, like really good on the short roll. He's massive, has great hands, great footwork. Talking to some AAC coaches, they said that he was like super high on their scouting report throughout the year and really high on his ceiling. And then they brought in Declan Duru from the German team, who was really good at the FIBA U19 World Cup. Oh, I forgot they had Louis Obiora too, another import from the UK who Michigan State looked at.
Former Michigan State guy.
Yeah. So maybe Cam Heidi breaks out. Who knows? There's a couple, I think some guys like we know Tremont Mark can score. We know Dalen Swain can be productive in the power conferences. And then you have your lottery ticket ties with Duru, Matas, and Lubis Obiora. It could be a good year in Austin.
I like that. I like that. So the teams part was hard for me a little bit. The players is easy.
All right, give me your players.
Christian Anderson, Denzel Aberdeen.
Okay, let me hear. I mean, I've heard Greg's pitch on Anderson, but I want to hear your thoughts on. Yeah, you can go ahead and share both him and
I
Aberdeen.
mean, obviously, like I've always been a fan of his, and his game. I was gonna be sick if he went to Michigan. He doesn't go to Michigan. That was great for me. But what he's done throughout the summer with FIBA just basically staples the fact that I think he's gonna be the Robin to JT Toppin's Batman, and it's gonna look great, and it's gonna be one of the best guard big combos in the country. And I think he's really gonna kind of come on the scene here after being like very underrated. Like for him to be this freshman, solid player in the Big 12 started, I'm pretty sure a lot of games, averaged 10 points, shot pretty well. Given a guy that was kind of undersized, he was able to, he's grown into his body a little bit. He's got stronger too. I think he's going to have an exceptional breakout year. And then on the Denzel Aberdeen side, I just think like he's got more to his game than he can show that I'm kind of buying into. And it's showing itself. Like I think the frame is there, the game is there as well. I just think that in the bigger role that he'll have at Kentucky, maybe in a little bit of change of scenery, I'm kind of buying like Denzel Aberdeen being like maybe the running mate instead of Jalen Lowe to take it away. I don't know. I'm just kind of buying it more than I was before.
I'm actually with you completely. We said this on a Kentucky video earlier, reacting to Matt Jones saying Jalen Lowe will lead the team in scoring. I think Aberdeen is 100% the Robin to the Batman. So I'm excited to see how that shakes out. I'll give you my two players. I'll caveat this. The first one you're going to hear, and you're going to be like, well, no, duh, Riley. So there is an explanation to it. But the first is Cam Boozer, which it's like, oh, who would have thought a stock riser who's the top three player in the class is going to be good. But the way that I viewed Boozer really before this summer, when I dove into his high school tape a little bit more and even watched some of these clips Duke has been releasing, I thought of him as like a little undersized at 6'9". Like when I think of someone like Paulo Banchero playing the four, what made him so special was he was massive and he could handle and had all the skill. Someone like Flag was the freak athlete, the insane team defender who would just come out of nowhere to block shots and have better. Both of them have better measurables than Boozer. But the more I've read about this kid, where he's won everywhere he's been. He's averaged like 20 and 10 for his career. And then you see the clips, and I think it's almost like the description for Cam Boozer has been he's good at everything, great at nothing, which I would say he has a great motor, has a great rebounder, two really important skills. But if you're good at everything, then you're gonna be a good college basketball player. And I fully buy him as someone who's not just gonna be a top three pick, but challenge for the number one pick, and he'll make a case for National Player of the Year. So, really special player. I think the passing attributes are a lot better than I realized. The jumper looks projectable. So, shout out to Cam Boozer. I hate that I kind of like Cam Boozer. Maybe that'll change once the season starts, but yeah, he's easy to cheer for.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I like that pick. Who's the second player?
Second player is Christoph Tilly.
Okay,
He
a
was
little Ohio State love, huh?
So he was someone when he committed, it was like, all right, we got a WCC big who averaged 12 points a game. Who cares? And then I actually watched Christoph Tilly, and I think a lot of the physicality, the athleticism, that stuff should translate. He could be a little bit more efficient at the rim, but I think I mean, he's comfortable there, and he can give you some 3-point shooting as well. Uh, Percentage isn't great from beyond the arc, but I like that he can at least keep you honest.
I like that pick. I'm honestly a little bit higher on Ohio State this season than I think a lot of people are. So I really like that pick, right? That was a fun exercise. We'll be sure to monitor those throughout the season to see who needs to make some apologies, though. Let's just let that be known.